Oh, I always, you know what? It's habit, right? I kind of was waiting for the intro to come on, realizing
New
that
show, don't have an intro.
new
So
show don't have an intro. And I'm over here looking at my Twitter and then posting stuff, and but here here we are, man. It's the first official Canes on Deck show.
yes,
Obviously,
yes, we
Canes
are
baseball
branded.
is here. I know we had our first show recently over at the Miami, the official Miami Heat team store,
Hurricanes.
Miami Hurricanes team store. Jesus Christ, it's been a long day. Miami Hurricanes team store over at the Thesis Hotel, right underneath it, across the street from campus. As we previewed the 2024 season, and now we've got a little taste of it already,
Yep.
as the Canes, took on NJIT to open the season this past weekend. It was a 4-game set. Only played 3 games because of some bad weather on Sunday. But look, listen, that first game was electric. It was exciting, or
Dicey.
or dicey. It depends on how you want to see it. But the Canes pulled through in the bottom of the ninth with the walk off, and of course, the second and third game where Vish, you were there at I think the
And
third
then
game, right?
third game, yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
just lights out.
35-2 across the doubleheader. That'll work.
Exactly. So Canes on Deck is really exciting. This show, we're really excited to talk some Canes baseball. We've got some great things to talk about, some really exciting things to look forward to, and then of course some cause for concerns as well, which
Yep.
I'm pretty sure me and Vish are on the same page for this one.
Yeah, a couple of shout outs in the chat. Canes Cat Heat.
Yeah,
This dude is like, he's on
all
the
over.
baseball, he's on buckets all the time. And then
Nice, man.
of course, our guy Evan.
Evan
F1
Stone.
show back next week.
Yes,
There's
sir.
we're like 10 days out from an F1 race. So
Isn't that crazy? I know it's so
yeah,
crazy, but
this
we're pretty
damn
excited about that
400
too.
race calendar. I need more air, man.
I'm done. I'm done with it. My goodness.
Yeah. So shout out to Evan. We'll be back next week to preview
Yes,
Bahrain.
sir. Oh yeah, you went with the and everything,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, man.
Okay, all right. I see you. I see you.
Getting culturally appropriate here. So
Um,
even if we're calling him Costello, Westminster,
it's Costello. It's Costello.
Westminster, man.
By the way, I'm trying to find it here. I'm trying to find.
We did find out it was Cuvée, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not
no
Cuvette.
wonder.
It's Cuvée.
No, it's Cuvée. It's
Yeah,
Cuvée.
it's
It's
Cuvée.
very French of them.
Yeah.
To do so. But yeah, we're pretty excited about Canes baseball. Look, I know it's NJIT, right? So nothing to, we're not going to Omaha after that one. So, but still, look, the Canes did exactly what they needed to do and more. I mean, they absolutely dominated the series for the most part, right? The first game was, aside from those 2 innings, I think Miami, looked really good. So I was really excited to see what I saw. But before we even get into that, Vish, how you feeling about this Kings baseball team overall, just based off of what you saw?
So I mean, we're going to talk about some stuff we're worried about later. So I'll start with the positives, though. I thought top to bottom, a lot of hitting. Again, it's NJIT, but a lot of new faces that are making that adjustment to this level of baseball. Did not seem to have any issues hitting the ball, and that's something even some of our greater players like Zach Collins struggled initially, and took a while to kind of get into rhythm. It's good to see this many players producing. So overall, because again, we played a double header on Saturday. So we rotated heavily in the second game and no let up, which is a good sign.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, right, top to bottom, that lineup looks formidable. It looks like they're going to go out there and they're going to be able to score some runs and they're going to be able to hit the ball really well. It's a pretty balanced lineup. I'm sure you might see some changes here and there as the season goes along. But even our boy Jack Scanlon, right? First at bat goes yard of the season. So
No, he grew that over the right center field wall
he did, but Carlito is doing really well. I mean, he's starting off hot as well, obviously
last year too.
with the
So
walk off. I know, and he's got a
did
couple
last
home
year.
runs already. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels like this. It feels like the lineup really kind of picked up where it left off per se, right? I mean, they still look like they can hit the ball. And we talked about this, right? We said that I don't think the lineup is going to be much of an issue, but
Yeah, with that, it
where
was
it's going
kind
to be
of
important is in the the conference games and against really good teams. See how they perform there.
yeah, and also just that it was underrated because you look at what the team lost, and you think, okay, if you lose that much of your production,
Right.
you're going to be in trouble. But I think we both looked at this and said, there's actually more depth this year.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of identifying who the key guys are. But this has more upside than last year's team did because it wasn't just relying on Yo-Yo and Levinson and, Kafis and Patelli. It was just a lot more players. I mean, we talked about this in the postseason last year as we were kind of watching the season end together that, we'd had to wait for the bottom of the lineup to strike out, get out, so we get back to the top to try and score.
Right.
So you're almost wasting every third inning. And I think there's a high potential as this team progresses,
7, 8,
top
9.
to bottom. Yeah, that top to bottom. I mean, again, it's NJIT,
Jason
right?
Torres, Carlos
Right.
Perez,
Yeah.
and JD Urso.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
it's NJIT right now, but I think between the guys you mentioned, but also some of the backups that got in there also hit well. So
some of them are seasoned vets like Gutierrez, Gabby, Gabby Gutierrez, and Jacoby Long. Those guys, and then like you mentioned, you got the younger guys too. Eric Fernandez, Antonio Jimenez, Jake Kulikowski. Yeah, you got some good bats there.
Yeah, and I think the promising thing there then is, let's say you do get, because again, last year we started off hot, slumped towards especially the bottom half of the lineup, but there were no real options to bring in. This year, there are. So, for example, you mentioned Scanlon. If he can be productive in his spot starts and his backup appearances, then if Carlito hits a slump, you can go to him. Right. Last year that wasn't really an option.
No. So, even Goitia got in the game and got a couple base hits as well. So I think that Kane's Cats he says Fenster the GOAT. Well, yes. So that's a big thing too, right? They struck out. It looks like they may not strike out as much. It looks like the plate discipline is a little bit better.
Well, there was an approach change. I mean, we
definitely you noticed that big time.
Yeah, and then also talking about the Friday game. I mean, we twice, because we tied it up at 7.
Right.
We went to the bunt, man. We played the small ball twice. Didn't work the first time because
it was the Villegas one, right?
And Edgardo lined it back to the pitcher and turned into a double play, but JD went right back to it.
He did.
That was something Chino was not going to bunt in those situations.
Well, you got Darren Fenster there now, right?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a different approach. I think,
definitely
the strikeouts point to a little bit more of a controlled approach, although obviously the power was there too this week. But
it was impressive.
Some of that's definitely the opponent, but
although I will say the only thing that Fenster, that one play that I talked about in the first game of the season where he got Costello thrown out at third, but that's a little bit of both Costello and first. So you got to see that play in front of you. But it is what it is. It happens. It's being a little aggressive. First game of the season. I get it. That's okay. You got to make a really good throw. So there's a lot of different things. However, they've got to work. I would probably say that the thing that they have to work on the most is, as he mentions here, Kane's Cat is a little bit of the base running, but it's the first weekend of the season. So I don't know if I expected to see too much base stealing against NJIT, where they probably felt really confident in their bats to be able to move the guys over that way. So I see a big improvement. I see what what looks like a pretty balanced lineup right now.
Yep.
I agree. So and I'm not talking about from power to just guys that can get on base, but just overall, you don't. I mean, Jason Torres hitting 7th, right? A guy that's potential has 15 to 20 home runs potential power in him, hitting that low in the lineup is really nice to see. Carlito, who hit 13 last year, is hitting 8th, right? JD Urso led Division Two last year in doubles, which people don't realize either. That's a big deal for the University of Tampa is ranked number 1 in the country in Division Two. He led the whole country in doubles. So and by the way, nobody corrected me on this show last week. Okay, and I got a bone to pick with you guys. You obviously, Vish. You did not correct me about Lucas Costello. I kept saying that he's from Vanderbilt. The kid played at Wake Forest. I know, and I kept saying the Vandy. He played in the College World Series with Vandy, and I'm thinking to myself, obviously the colors, right? The colors is what got me, right? They both have similar colors, so I kept saying Vandy, and then I'm like, hold on a second, he played at Wake Forest. What the hell? I never
You're being
said
defended by
I
Kate's
did say
guy
Wake.
here.
I did. I don't know. I might have to throw the flag on that on myself and see if
I have to defend myself then here from that attack by Jazz.
Yeah, I guess
for not correcting you when you were.
I'm just full of shit. I don't know. Yeah. But at any rate, really great performance by him as well. I know the first game he kind of struggled that first couple of bats, and then he kind of came through with a base hit and getting on base too. So he himself hit a home run in the series as well. So a lot of production from the lineup. I think the biggest thing that we need to talk about, it's the elephant in the room, Vish. We talked about this before. I love Gage Zeal. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been here for a long time. He's a captain of the team. He's a good player, man. And he's when he's on, when he's consistent, when he's lights out. He can definitely dominate a game, but his inconsistencies, his inability to get through the lineup the second time around. I think that's the biggest thing. That's what I kind of wanted to mention is I think that's what we've seen with him in the past also is his inability to get through the lineup the second time around. And I think that's more to do, it's not to do with his velocity because he was 93 to 94 the whole time he was there, right? The whole time he was in the game, 93 to 94, hard throwing stuff, had a really nice slider going for some time. But I think you got to be able to adapt and you got to be able to adjust the way that you pitch and how you throw in your location, your spotting. You gotta be able to do that more consistently, and you've got to switch things around. You've got to change things up especially when you're gonna go up against the best teams in the country, right? So, and if you do that against NJIT, even this is what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna give up 4 and 5 run innings because of the inconsistency of being able to get around. That first time around, you might be able to dominate anybody because you throw hard, you've got a nice slider, you've got good stuff. But really good college baseball hitters are going to be able to adjust to that, and they're going to get your timing down. So you have to make the adjustment as well on the mounds, and I just don't think he did that. And that's been something that he struggled with throughout his career is being able to make those adjustments when you're going the second or third time around in the lineup. You have to be able to do that because they're going to do it. We've mentioned it. We don't think he's a Friday night guy based off his experience and his leadership. Maybe that's why he's there. But do you think it's time for Miami to seriously consider making a move there in the rotation? And I'm not saying taking him out because I still think he's a good pitcher. I still think he deserves to be in that rotation. I just don't think he needs to be the Friday night guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one game, and assuming we did talk about this in the preview, we don't think he's the quote unquote ace,
right?
But we think he would get the Friday start. Because the last few years we haven't necessarily thrown our best pitcher on Friday. It's been the guy we felt was the most reliable, which is going to be the veteran.
Right.
And this is Rafe's first time starting, Herrick's first time starting at this level. So it was kind of like, past his precedence, he was going to get the Friday job. So I think whatever rationale went into that, I don't think you just throw it away off of one performance. I think, I'm sure they're already thinking about it because as Kane's Cats, he pointed out, I don't think the coaches or any of us were under any illusion that he was the best pitcher on the staff. Right. So I don't think this is necessarily that much of a surprise. I will say it was part of it was going through the line the second time. Part of it was he started elevating his pitches.
Yeah.
And Weicho, shout out to Weicho, was really good. I know you were at the game, so you probably didn't see this, but on the broadcast, he was pointing out like where the ball was elevating. He's like showed pitches from like the first inning where he's keeping it down, and then he started losing a little bit of command, and everything started drifting up in the zone. That's when they started hitting him. Um, so he did a real good job of pointing that out and saying like, look, he's missing his spots every time. Everything's up, up, up.
Right.
And he got hammered.
Yeah.
Got back to the dugout, came out and got hammered again. So although he did get jobbed on he did actually get out of the jam in the fifth because he struck the guy out on a quote unquote check swing where he basically 3/4 swung and the didn't give it to him and then they kept the rally going. But yeah, no, I mean he lost a little bit of command and his stuff is not good enough he's got to hit his spots.
Yeah.
Like it's good, but it's not great. If he's not hitting his spots, he will get hammered. And we saw that last year. And, after a while, he did recover. But he, I do think, I'll say it. I know, Gino's explanation was that he threw Zeal on Friday of the regional last year because, like, hey, we got to get that first win, whatever, right? I think a lot of it had to do with he trusted an injured Ligon more against the in the winners game than he did Zeal at that point.
Right.
So he really was holding back his better pitcher. Everyone knows in a regional you got to win those first two. Now Ligon got shelled, so it didn't. The 1 inning guy for Mississippi State got shelled, and so that didn't work out. But I think that had a lot to. I think they trust him to eat innings. But I don't think they trust him to just go out and beat the top teams, and so it'll be interesting to see how they manage that.
Yeah, Kane's Cat Heat says here, I do not blame JD for keeping him in the fifth. You have no idea. I don't blame him either. I don't think that I'm not sitting here and saying you should have taken him out as soon as he started.
It's NJIT. You gotta let him work through some shit here.
Yeah, you gotta let him, exactly. This is the perfect opportunity for him to work on that. So, but he did come out and he struggled again, and so. You got to be able to, like I said, he's got to be able to keep making adjustments. If he's noticing he's keeping the ball up, you got to work on it, right? You got to keep the ball down a little bit. You have an opportunity to really take advantage of a team that is not a very good baseball team, and make those pitches right and work on your craft. But if you're not doing that in game against these teams, then you're not going to last into the fifth inning. You know what I mean? So it's going to be, look, he's got another opportunity against Long Island, who's another team. I'm not saying they're bad. They're not terrible, but listen, it's another team that you should be able to come out and beat.
Right? Yeah, I do think if we see something similar out of him, Jay's got to consider the rotation for Florida.
Sure.
Because you can't do this.
Right. If he has a solid outing against LIU and he goes out there and he throws, throws 5 or 6 shutout innings or whatever the case may be, he just looks really good, then I think he keeps it the way it is, and you kind of roll with it. And look, the truth is that I think we were all kind of surprised with how good the bullpen was, right? A bunch of young guys and Grandpa Dwyer.
Who did? I guess he got the win on Friday, right? Because he came in with the 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, he did get the win on Friday, but the bullpen looked good. Julian Hernandez, yes, I saw that there. I saw a video of his dad being really hyped up for him pitching too, so really cool. I was really kind of excited to see him. Julian Hernandez did well. Nick Robert did well. You got a solid inning from Caba, who came back from injury. He looked okay. You've got a couple other guys, right? Who's the big Natterman or Notterman, however you call it, Notterman.
Yes,
you got an inning or two from him as well. I think in the first, wait, he pitched the first game, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe he
got 2 innings in the first game, and then they gave it to Dwyer. So you've got some guys there that look good. You've got some guys that look really good. Brandon Oliveira threw in the second game. So you've got, a lot of guys were able to throw, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I think the Friday game is a positive sign because it was a pressure situation. Right. The Canes were down and then tied as these relievers are in their working innings. So
exactly,
they had the pressure on them to not concede anything and they didn't. So that's a good sign. Because we can talk about the competition or whatever. It's still game pressure.
Absolutely.
You know, and so they rose to that challenge at least for one game.
Right. And obviously, you know, there's still some guys out there like Crowther who's working his way up back in. Walters.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's his first name?
Brian.
What was his brother's name?
Andrew
Walters. Jesus. And his and their uncle's name? Matt. National champion.
You know what? Hold on. So I apologize to Hurricane Jason here because you just violated.
I know I did, right? I just
violated.
Whatever. It's a reference to the family. It's still baseball. It's still baseball. Come on. Yeah. So I mean, I was impressed. I was impressed with the bullpen. I think those guys did well. I think. Look, having a guy like Laz Gutierrez as your pitching coach, also, I mean, it's a little bit of a different mentality, a different way of going about things. And JD just handing it off to him and letting him do his thing, I think is huge. I mean, that guy's been around the best of the best, right? Whether it's winning championships with the Red Sox, those Sox, or being ranked the number 1 team in the country in Division II baseball with Nova Southeastern as well. You know, he's done a hell of a job wherever he's gone, right? He's got that degree in psychology as well. So, you know, that's his forte, is being able to get inside the minds of these pitchers and be able to help them get through things. And so I think it's a great, a great opportunity for Laz to be able to develop that pitching staff. And I think he was a great addition to this team. So, shout out to that bullpen. I think they did a great job. I think the starting pitching for the most part, obviously Rafe was terrific. Eric Hernandez was terrific as well. And you know, we almost had a chance to see Ben Chestnut, Vish.
Well, so what are you? Okay, so I was going to ask you about this. So he was announced as the Sunday starter. If you're in the Miami area, you know how the weather was there. There was no way they were playing a game. I haven't seen anything official, but I'm assuming he started.
I don't know how he got golf in, by the way. I don't even know how I got that.
Well, actually, it held off later than they thought it would, but there was no way it was going to get to 1 without washout. So with Chestnut probably going tomorrow,
right?
What are your thoughts on that? He looks like he's the 4th guy.
I think what's going to happen, right? We kind of talked about this a little bit too. I think that midweek game, you're going to see Chestnut throw, but I think it's going to be a committee, you know, pitching by committee. You might see some other guys. You might see Chestnut throw 2 or 3 innings, then get another guy that's going to come in and throw a couple innings as well. So you may see some guys you may see a guy like Nick Robert get some work. You know, I think that midweek game at the beginning is going to be that way until they kind of feel comfortable and settled with one guy. But yeah, Ben, I think, is going to be their first option just because, again, another guy, been here for a little bit now, his experience. He's another guy that's up and down. He's got really bad outings, and then he's got some outings where, you know, that 84 to 86 for some reason from the right side works, right? And you're like, but I think it's because it's 84 to 86, and you're like, what the hell? And then you figure it out, and then they start. You know,
yeah. So my concern, because you mentioned earlier about Zeal, you know, and we weren't talking about dropping him entirely out of the weekend rotation, right? But if it gets to that point, Chestnut is not a weekend starter.
No.
Well, so my point is, it doesn't look like we're preparing someone to kind of step up into that role if he's getting the ball as the midweek guy.
Yeah, I mean, Canes Cats Heat. I'm assuming I think I know who Canes Cats Heat is at this point.
I definitely know who it is. He's been here annonously, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, he's in here anonymously.
You can put his name in the chat if he wants.
I'm sure he's done a couple of shows with me back in the day, but Jordan Vargas is another kid. Is another kid that has an opportunity to come in and get some innings. I think right now that bullpen is young, so he's going to. So Laz and JD are going to give them a shot to kind of make a name for themselves and maybe get settled in that midweek rotation guy or even a guy that they go to for multiple innings down the stretch, like a Lecarica kind of guy from last year, or Alejandro Torres. That's another guy. Those type of guys, we need to replace them. And I think that Vargas and Robert and Chestnut and the whole bunch, everybody else that we mentioned, are going to be vying for those spots And if you can get multiple guys that can do that, then you're in much better shape than you were last year. Because I think
Yeah.
that was a big thing last year as well.
Yeah, no, a lot of it was a lot of Torres dependency last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember because I went to that Virginia series where we got swept in Virginia. He pitched like 2 or 3 innings on Friday, 2 or 3 innings on Saturday, then started on Sunday.
Right.
It's like, can't do that.
Yeah. Rubber arm Torres over there.
Yeah,
But anyways, I think that we're I'm excited to see what they do on the mounds.
yeah,
For the rest of the season, we'll see. Let's get we. It's funny that we haven't spoken. We've spoken barely about the hitting. I know we mentioned it early, but
yeah.
let's start off with this. I got a question for you. What are you most surprised by in that lineup?
So I'll just say generally that in Kane's Cat, he talked about this earlier. There was a lot more disciplined approach, but the power was still there. Because it felt like in the Geno era, we made a trade off between we're gonna hit for power, which is something especially at the end of the Morris era we were not doing at all. But we're gonna hit for power, and the trade off is gonna be strikeouts. It's gonna be unproductive outs. We kind of had at least for it's one weekend, but the power was definitely there. I mean, Saturday was basically just a home run derby, and the strikeouts weren't there, and the unproductive outs weren't really there. So to me, that was a positive sign. It just seemed like a more mature hitting team.
Yeah, I think that the power being there. I kind of had an idea with Cavey, Jason
I
Torres.
mean, Cuvée is if for those of you that haven't been out to the ballpark,
Yeah, that kid is unbelievable. By the way,
he's he's a unit. Like he could
he
not
is.
be the freshman.
He
He
no
is.
he.
He is.
Oh,
He is
when
massive.
you remember when Yo-Yo came in, right? We were all like, "Wow, look at this kid, big kid, 6'3", big, tall, lanky kid at third base, shortstop. Where's he gonna play? Well, he can hit for some power. He's got the goods. He's gonna be special. I mean, Cuvée looks like he ate Yo-Yo Morales. He's like twice his size. He's a bigger kid. He's a little more filled out.
Yeah.
But he's got some massive. He had a 460-foot home run on
Yeah.
Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. Jesus Christ, that kid is. Yeah, I mean, if he can continue to do what he's doing, I mean, he hit an Apple Taco grand slam in the second game, and he barely even touched that ball.
Yeah.
So
No, he is. He is physically well beyond what his age would indicate, and
he
the
really
idea that he's
is.
going to go through a weight program and grow is just like
He's
insanity.
got 3 years of that at least, right? Because I
Yeah.
mean, if he
Yeah.
continues to do that, that's another first rounder right there. So, look, but again, I think I was impressed, obviously, with Cuvée. I think everybody was impressed with Cuvée and what he was able to do as a freshman coming in and hitting the way he did. But I think that, look, I love that I saw. That I'd love to see Dorian Gonzalez back in there and hitting the way he was hitting, getting on base. Because quite frankly, he has the talent to be one of the top players on this team. We saw him go through a slump last year, but from a defensive perspective, he's the best guy in the infield, right? He's smooth at second base. If we get another lefty bat in the lineup like his that can drive the ball to the gaps like he was doing on this past weekend, then you've got yourself something special there with him with Dorian Gonzalez coming back. So I was
Yeah.
really
Well,
happy
what
for
do you
him.
think about we DH'd him. I feel like if you're keeping him in the lineup, he's one of our best fielders. How's he not in the field?
Well, I think they did it just to kind of get
They
Jimenez in
did. They
there.
did put him in the
You
field.
know?
I think he played third base in the game I
He
went to,
did,
the Saturday night game. So
right?
they got him out there, and I think Sear might DH that game. But I feel like you gotta. Are all the other infielders actually better than him in the field? Because I don't think so.
Better than Dorian?
Yeah, that's what that we're putting
No,
out there. Like,
no. I think that it's
I
MJIT again, right? I think you're going to see him play the field a lot more. Some as the season progresses. I think at this point you want to get Jimenez out there a little bit because Jimenez, is really good, right? He's a very good fielder, and you want to get him some time, maybe just to kind of get acclimated at short and at third. because you might see him come in
Yeah, it
and
was
replace some of
Kube.
these guys. So you're going to see a lot of that. I think Sear playing, second base. I don't want to say he's a liability, right? But he's a natural shortstop. But now you bring in a guy like Urso, who's an experienced veteran guy that can come in and play shortstop really well. That kind of keeps Sear at DH because of Gonzalez's glove at second base. You're going to see that more often. I think at the beginning you just want to kind of get some guys out there, get some guys some playing time on the field, but I don't think you'll see that as much going down. The rest of the season. I think you'll see him play the field a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of our best infielders in the field.
Absolutely.
That's what actually kept him in the lineup a lot last year because he wasn't hitting for shit.
Right, that's true. That's true. And I mean, look, I mentioned him, but Antonio Jimenez is a kid he's going to be something special here as well. Obviously this year he's kind of stuck because you got Cavey doing what he's doing at third, and then you've got Urso at short, who that's a guy. I mean, that's probably the biggest change you could see is if Urso starts to slump a little bit, then you bring in a guy like
he's definitely I think the one that's potentially replaceable at some point if he's because I mean at worst with Cuvée you might move him to DH or something.
Right.
If we have better fielding, but you're not taking that bat out of lineup. Obviously, you're not taking Sierra out, or Torres. So it is really just that shortstop position might be a little fluid.
Hey, speaking of that, what's up with your favorite player, baby, Mr. Lorenzo Carrier out there hitting bombs, playing left field, starting in left field.
Look, they threw him a fastball, which is never advisable. Do not throw Lorenzo Carrier a fastball. Yeah, no, he's
not bad so far, right?
He hit bombs. He hits bombs. That's what he does. If you throw him a fastball, you'll get punished.
That's his thing. Now we got to see if he's going to be.
Let's see if he's consistent with it. Yeah, the curveball tends to be a problem for him. But.
Yep, I agree. Costello made up for his botched play in last year's World Series with a ESPN top 10 play this past weekend at right field. I think he's a solid right field. He's got a strong arm, and he's got experience out there. He's a local kid, which I'm really happy that he's back home playing in front of his home team, his fans, and you see that he's happy to be here, man. He's excited to be a Cane. It's funny to see a kid that started for a national championship team, the number one team in the country, to come now down here and start for.
It is a little weird.
It's a little weird, but I'll take it
because he would have probably been their starting right fielder. So
probably, but listen, I'll take it. When you can do that, that's fine by me. So, I'm really excited for this lineup. I'm excited for the guys that we have on the bench too. I mean, you've got Gabby, right? You got Jacoby Longs, who both are veterans.
Yeah.
We didn't even see Renzo, which I'm not sure what Renzo's.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what his role is going to be on this team because they've got him as a utility guy / pitcher. So we'll see what's going to happen with Renzo. But
you figure he would have gotten it if they were going to use him to pitch. You think? Yeah.
Oh, Renzo's hurt. Okay.
Yeah, that would make more sense because I cannot believe he didn't see the field if he was healthy.
At least
because even
spell Torres a little bit at first.
Right, and even if he was going to pitch, there were opportunities to work him in there. So
this is true. I guess he's going to be like the next JP Gates out there. So, he is right now if he's hurt. So just like JP Gates.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Wow, taking a shot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love you, JP. And I thought you were a stud, but you got hurt too much.
Man, he couldn't command his pitches.
Yep.
He was all over the place.
As I mentioned, Adrian Jimenez, Eric Fernandez, AJ Goitia, even Jack Scanlon. You've got Antonio Jimenez, Kulikowski. Got a lot of guys that could potentially make some noise as a depth piece in this lineup. So, is he really? He's 2 for 2 right now. He's playing for Tampa. Isn't he older than Drew Dwyer? I feel like he's like 28 years old.
I mean, he must have gotten some red shirts for his arm.
I'm sure he did.
COVID years.
Good for him. They're ranked number 1 in the country in D2 this year so far. So good for him. He's playing for a really good program over there. So we saw. Oh, so basically we traded Urso for JP Gates. Is what you're telling me? Okay.
I mean, JP Gates has him on the team for a while, right?
Was he on it last year? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. You're right. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, look, we've got a lot more coverage for you coming up. They face UCF this week. I'm sorry, this Wednesday for a midweek game. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., I believe the game is at um, here in Miami, right? Yeah, it's down here. It's down here. So if you're here in Miami and Coral Gables, why don't you go check them out? They play the UCF Golden Knights at 6 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. You get a chance. 5 p.m. 5 p.m. I
Yeah.
definitely will be there. 5 p.m. As they you get to see Ben Chestnut in that lineup. That lineup might be a little different this week. I'm sorry, not this week, tomorrow as well. So, keep your eye out on that. But after that, they go on and play LIU. Long Island comes over to Miami to play the Kings here at home as well. I will be at one of those games. I'm sure Vish will be as well. Um,
Yeah, I'll be out there a bit.
we'll try to catch some Kings baseball this weekend also, and then let's go. It's go time as they face the Gators next week in week 3 of the season. So,
Yeah.
it's this is an opportunity for Miami to start off hot, get back in the race, and be a viable contender in that ACC. There's a lot of big programs right now, a lot of really good programs in the ACC. Duke is on a roll. You've got Wake Forest as the number 1 team in the country, Clemson, NC State, North Carolina, Virginia. You've got some really good teams in the ACC. So
Yeah, and a lot of those teams you mentioned are coming here.
that's great.
So
It's
so
still
lot,
tough.
lot,
It's a tough
lot of
schedule.
home games that
Yeah.
there's opportunities to notch some quality series wins, and everyone's kind of sleeping on the Canes right now. You can wake them up.
I hope so. It's wake up time. Yes, and so we get the scoreboard check here from our friend CCH 305. Wake Forest lost today. The Gators are up 4-0 on North Florida. The Wake Forest lost to UNC Greensboro. Okay.
So we do host FGCU in the midweek next week before UF. And
So
then
I believe it's 17 home games in a row, and then we go on the road. So
the first road game we have is Tuesday, March 12th at FAU. We don't have a weekend road series until March 22nd at Notre Dame.
Yep.
So it is
March 12th. So March 12th. I just found out, guys. March 12th. My team are 2020. Excuse me. Our 20. Is it 2020? Yeah. Our 2020 state championship team at South Miami Senior High is going to be celebrated at a game in South Miami as South Miami takes on. Oh my God, is it Terra? I think South Miami plays Terra because our third baseman is the head coach at Terra now. Or Archbishop. I'm sorry, Archbishop Carroll, not Terra. Archbishop Carroll, and South Miami play. I just wanted to throw that in there because that's March 12th. But I'll be out there being celebrated as a state champ. Woo-hoo! Super excited. Anyways, yeah, make sure you keep it logged. We'll have some more content for you.
I mean,
what else you got here?
You brought it up, just schedule check. So our weekend series after Long Island: Florida at home, Virginia at home, North Carolina at home.
Florida at home, Virginia at home, and North Carolina.
Or our next 3 weekend series after Long Island.
That's big, man.
If you guys don't have tickets, go buy tickets. Like that is elite level college baseball coming to the light 3 weeks in a row. And then, by the way, after traveling to Notre Dame, we host Clemson.
Oh, nice.
So you're getting just like very high quality home games here. So go get your tickets.
Yes, please do that. Please do that. We'll be out there. Vish will be out there as much as he can when he's in the house.
Yeah.
So
we can definitely do
that. Definitely can. And that's what I was trying to say at the beginning of the season, right? When we first had our first show. It's like this team is better than I think people are giving it credit for. Not in the top 25 because we lost, as you mentioned, Vish, those guys, Levinson and Kafis and Yo-Yo and Patelli. We lost a lot of guys, right? We lost a lot of guys from the bullpen. Gallo, Lecarica, Torres, Walters, and then Carson Ling went over to ride the pine at Mississippi State. So I mean, you lost a lot of guys, but you got some really, really good guys. I think this is the best recruiting class that has stayed and come to school for Miami in quite some time. with the guys like Cuvée and Jimenez and all those guys. So I think that what you're going to see is a really good team. Nick Robert, I think, is going to be the truest. 6'6", big kid, throws hard as hell. I'm really excited for those guys. So I think that I think that we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah,
So
I think it's going to be a fun season.
it will be. It will be. Make sure you keep it locked. Follow us, please, on Twitter. We finally got it up and going. It's at Canes on Deck. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes podcast. Make sure you click the like button. Show us some love there. Follow us on Twitter. We obviously are going to be in podcast form as well. So anywhere you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff.
Yeah, all this stuff goes out on the podcast feed. So
everything does, and we'll try to post some stuff on Canes on Deck as well on Twitter. Canes take on UCF tomorrow at 5 p.m. and then they face Long Island at home. If you are around, make sure you go support them. Myself and Vish will be out there. Come say hello. We'll be in the press box or sit in the stands with. Oh, and by the way, thumbs up to the JD milkshake. Really good milkshake. Went down easy. Didn't have any issues. You should definitely try it, man. You should definitely try it. Hell Pop, what the hell is that? What are you
I don't know.
about?
Just Max showed up right there to the show for the second day in a row.
Hell Pop and finally off work. Unbelievable. This is what you contribute to this second
day in a row. He floated on as you were signing off.
As we're signing off, listen, Max, just text me, man. I'll give you the rundown. All right, or you can text, or you can hit up CCH. I'm sure you know who he is as well. We don't want to give out his name. We're gonna keep it anonymous.
He kept it anonymous, so we're not gonna.
See, there you go, Max. Start a stream. Oh Jesus.
Oh yeah, check out Maxed Out later.
My stream is later. Yeah, make sure he's got his show coming up in a little bit with Big Mac. With Big Mac and cheese.
Extra
what
cheese.
A name. Extra cheese. What a name, right? What a name. Shout out to Max and the crew over there. But yeah, check them out. We'll have something for you soon again. Maybe a little bit of a rundown tomorrow after the game against UCF. And we'll go from there, man. But yes, thank you guys for coming on and showing up for Canes on Deck. Hopefully we'll have some more content for you soon coming up. And like I said, just follow us on Twitter and on YouTube, and make sure you enjoy and click the like button and subscribe. But we appreciate it, and baseball is an interesting game, and it's not for everybody. And we know that this is definitely going to be a niche group of people, but we do appreciate it because baseball is life, and for the baseball guys, we know what that's like. So we appreciate you guys coming on and shooting the breeze with us. And please comment on the chat. We want to talk baseball, right? And by the way, it's not siéntate, it's sit down. We'll see you guys later.